Greetings, everybody! TPrower once again. I think it's safe to say that My Little Pony Generation 5 is still going pretty strong. Chapter 4 of Make Your Mark ended on a really exciting note, and teaser material for Chapter 5 shows it's going to be even better. So, with Chapter 5 just around the corner, I'll just bullet point where we currently stand by going over some highlights of Chapter 4 of My Little Pony Make Your Mark. This will be a bit more summarized than my usual play-by-play, since we got a 44-minute special and 6 22-minute episodes to talk about. So, without further ado, let's get to it! Episode 1, and our special, Bridal Woodstock. To celebrate the luminescent splendor of Bridalwood's yearly Luma Bloom, Pip organizes a music festival. While having to deal with gathering top-tier musical talent for the show, deciding which of them should be the headliner and who should go on first. Oh, and invasion of pig-nosed spirit creatures called Troggles, who steal your voice unless you give them rubies. You know, standard concert procedure. The day, or night, is saved in the end, and the show goes on. We got 2 catchy songs from this special, and even carried over into a couple episodes of Tell Your Tale. Also, French fries with dipping sauces? Hitch, my man, you've got good taste. Episode 2, Top Remodel. The main 5 finally repurpose the old abandoned Counterlogic factory, while Pip highly enjoys the spooky atmosphere, and Hitch does not. Sunny and Izzy gather ideas from ponies, a lot of ideas, and Izzy helps Sunny realize she can't please everybody, and only she can make the right call with her judgment. Meanwhile, Hitch, Sparky, Pip, and Sprout, who was lurking around since he technically still owns the place, encounter an infestation of bored flying mice, and Pip and Hitch encourage them to leave via song. The place is now Canner Love Studios, where ponies can come together to make whatever content they want. Also, Zip starts cracking the mystery behind Twilight's mysterious message, and Misty starts questioning her allegiance with Opaline. Also, they finally address the issue of how it's Sprout's fault that Sunny's childhood home was destroyed. About time if you ask me. Episode 3, The Jinxie Games. Hitch takes part in Forest Critter Field Day with Cloudpuff, but despite his best efforts, even managing to save Sparky from falling off a tree while running a race, Bridalwood's convoluted rules and scoring system keep him from winning even one prize. At least Applejack still won ribbons at the Canterlot Rodeo, even if none of them were blue. Meanwhile, Pip and Zip discover, to their horror, that their mother is dating Alphabiddle. But they eventually come to terms with the fact that she misses having them around and wants to live her own life. But not before she teases them about how close they are with Hitch. During this, Misty grows even guiltier about betraying her new friends. Episode 4, Sunny Side Up. Misty is grounded for her failures, while Opaline goes out to seek a way of gaining power herself. Almost succeeding, but not quite. During this, Sunny and a camera-shy Hitch try to run a cooking show live from Canner Love Studios, resulting in an adorably hilarious food fight, which seems to do well for their ratings. After a heartwarming speech from Sunny, who just wants the two of them to have fun and not worry about impressing others, Misty has an epiphany about how she doesn't want to hurt her new friends or listen to Opaline anymore, and wants to make her own decisions. A revelation she now has to hide from Opaline herself. Meantime, Sunny and Hitch's do-over for their show results in more bookings for Canner Love Studios. Also, I'd be sorely remiss if I didn't bring up the huge mind bomb this episode dropped on us. Opaline knew Celestia and Luna when they were fillies, and felt ignored and snubbed by them, leading her to want to prove herself their superior. Now, this is being told from Opaline's perspective, and we know how narcissistic she is. It's perfectly possible she is telling the truth, but it's just as likely there are further details she's conveniently leaving out. Still, coming off of Twilight's recorded message, this further connection with G4 is huge. Episode 5, The Masquerade Ball. The main five, with Misty in tow, attend a fancy masked ball in Zephyr Heights, which Zip uses as an excuse to research alicorns, but gets more than she bargained for when Misty reveals her lack of a cutie mark to her. Despite this, she comforts Misty, saying she's still their friend even if she is different from them, and they cap off the night with an awesome dance routine, making it the best night of Misty's life. Meanwhile, Opaline succeeds in bringing home a legendary Dragon Stone, intending to power herself with dragon fire she can collect in it. And she thankfully has no way of knowing what her adopted minion was up to that night. Thank goodness. There are a couple other things to note about this episode. First, Alphabet's puzzled look at the sight of Misty dancing with her friends. Second, a chocolate fountain is fancy enough, but a whipped cream waterfall, a peanut butter puddle, and cookie towers? Pip, you and your family know how to treat your party guests like royalty. Episode 6, A Little Horse. They knew what they were doing when they titled this episode. Pip comes down with a cold, and her sister and friends do what they can to help her recover, all while she's fussing about not getting to make content until she's better. Of all the story beats from Tell Your Tale that carried over into Make Your Mark, this is not what I was expecting. Not that's a bad thing, of course. We get to hear Anasani do her best AJ Brile impression, learn interesting nature facts from Hitch and his critter friends, see Sunny go to ridiculous lengths to get the recipe of a treasured childhood soup, and learning more than she expected to about it, experience Zip growing ever closer to cracking the mystery surrounding Opaline's motives, much to Missy's discomfort, and see Pip just generally be even more adorable than usual, which is saying something. By the end, she's fully recovered and ready to get back into her groove, just in time for a collab stream with Electric Blue. And finally, Episode 7, Missing the Mark. For the final episode of the chapter, it's only fitting that it ends this batch with a bang. This one deserves a more in-depth summary, so buckle up. Through means we didn't get to see, Misty manages to kidnap Sparky and bring him to Opaline at last, although her conscience is hurting her badly for it. Before she can change her mind, Opaline seizes Sparky, delighted that Misty finally succeeded, and proceeds to drain Sparky's dragon fire into the Dragon Stone. While Hitch is trying hard not to relive the end of Chapter 2, Misty barges in to lead the others to Sparky, naturally arousing Zip's suspicions about how much she knows. After arriving at Opaline's castle for the first time, the main five are captured in a magic-resistant bubble and given the horrible truth of Misty's role in Opaline's plans. As can be expected, Sunny, Izzy, Hitch, Pip, and Zip are devastated, heartbroken, and furious, and aren't in the mood to hear Misty try to justify her actions. Sunny can even summon the power to become an alicorn to break out, thanks to Opaline's measures. Misty's guilt is only worsened by seeing the state Sparky's in from being drained, and hearing that Opaline intends to drop him into the sea when she's done with him. Abusive guardian, would-be tyrant, and willing to drown a child just because of the trouble he caused her? So much to dislike about you, Opaline Arcana. Misty can't even feel joy from finally getting praise from Opaline for the first time, or the promise of her cutie mark. Finally deciding that no cutie mark is worth losing her friends, Misty breaks the main five out, and because of that, she not only regains their trust, but finally earns her cutie mark. Better yet, It matches the fake one she put on for her disguise. It actually reminds me of the Cutie Mark Crusaders finally earning their marks. After helping Diamond Tiara turn her life around, they realized how much they liked helping ponies, and decided to keep doing it, not even caring about getting their cutie marks anymore. And, well, you know what happened next. With Opaline finally becoming powerful again, Misty helps lure her away so Hitch and Zip can rescue Sparky. In the meantime, Sunny and Opaline have a tense and climactic battle, with Opaline showing just how strong and threatening she's become, Izzy and Pip doing their best to distract her, and Sunny finally becoming her alicorn self to fight her on equal footing. At last, with a Cutie Mark magic boost from her friends, including Misty, Sunny manages to subdue Opaline long enough for them to escape, with the promise that Sunny will never allow Opaline to hurt her friends ever again. Misty remains behind to keep up pretending to be Opaline's loyal hench pony, but now she's in an even more precarious position, as she now has to hide her new real cutie mark and the fact that she can freely use magic. Nevertheless, she doesn't regret making her choice, as while Sparky's recovering at the Bright House, Misty visits to apologize for her actions. While they agree she initially did wrong, saving them and helping them rescue Sparky is more than enough for them to forgive her, and she promises, hoof to heart, to help them stop Opaline, essentially agreeing to act as a double agent. I am so proud of how much she's grown since we met her. She's come such a long way. And as for Opaline, she's recovered from this minor setback, as she now has dragon fire at last, but she wants even more. She intends to awaken the other dragons who are likely still around, if Sparky's presence is anything to go by. A daunting prospect, and a foreboding note to end Chapter 4 on. So, that's where Chapter 4 left us. Sunny and her friends are at last aware of Opaline and have clashed with her. Misty is fully on the side of her new friends, and has magic and her own cutie mark at last. And Opaline has the dragon fire she wanted, and is seeking even more power from other dragons. This all opens up quite a few questions. How will Misty cope with her new double life and hide it from Opaline? What new threats will Opaline impose on her enemies in her new course for conquest? Will we see any familiar faces among these dragons she mentioned? Or more familiar faces from G4 in general? And, on a lighter note, what new developments will we see for Karen Love Studios? And for Queen Haven and Alphabiddle? I'm sure we'll get the answers to at least some of these questions, and perhaps more that I haven't even asked, and make your mark Chapter 5. This show just keeps getting better and better, with the animation and quality of the storytelling improving with each chapter. I still find Tell Your Tale to be going strong as well, even if its style isn't for everybody. It even did a faithful adaptation of Missing the Mark, with a few differences, like Opaline getting pelted with donuts, which would have been even funnier if it happened in the Make Your Mark version, but Tell Your Tale is more about comedy anyway. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody, and here's to Chapter 5 when it comes around, to wow us all anew. Until next time, see ya!